retiring or that was separating service that might have interest and be good candidates for this position. We did get some submissions from that. We also asked the members on the Team Military Affairs Committee, most of those, if not all, were prior military or retired military. We asked them to use their contacts to send people for interviews. We did receive, like I said, about four or five, as I recall, applications that expressed interest. We looked at those applications and decided to start the interview process. The person I thought probably was the best qualified from just looking at paper was the first one to interview. I was still serving on the committee at that time. It was a good interview. Matter of fact, he had my vote at that point that he would be one of the lead candidates. Unfortunately, during the interview, what he informed us is that he would not be available for 6 months because he had a military commitment he had to fulfill. That was not going to work because we were looking for someone that could start immediately. We'd already had that position vacant for almost a year. We knew that we had a limited window to get some things done. For example, number one being the limited access use agreement to get Whiting to support the aviation park. We'd even had a question from one of the Pentagon leaders up there who was aware of what we're trying to do, saying, well, where is it? And the reason it wasn't there is because there was no one to work it. So it was important that we find somebody that was ready to go and ready to hit the road running. At that point, I became concerned that we were not going to find that right person in that interview round. I talked to the board, to the committee after that first interview, and I expressed my concerns. And I said, I'll tell you what, I said, I really have never expressed interest in the position, but I'm afraid that we're going to wind up having to redo this process all over again. I said, if you don't feel it's a conflict of interest on my part, I said, I'll resign from this committee. I'll put my application in. You can consider it along with the others that you're reviewing. And I believe I was the last one they interviewed after they'd finished the other interviews. It went from the committee to the board with a recommendation on the hiring, and I was informed in May that I had been selected, and we sat down to negotiate a consulting agreement, and that's what happened. And I can understand the appearance.
Is it fair to say that your prior position on the board gave you an advantage?
You know, I can't say it didn't, and the reason for that is I had worked the BRAC committee for the 2 counties in 2005. I was well known to the board, to the county commission, to other leaders in the community of my involvement in community affairs, civic groups. I served on boards of numerous organizations here in the 2 county area. So yeah, that probably did give me an advantage.
I do need to say for the audience, for the purposes of disclosure, I was one of the people who complained about that. So I thank you for answering our questions about it.
Sure.
And I do want to ask you just a couple of general questions about TEAM as a former board member.
Okay.
There's a perception in some quarters of the community that TEAM is using tax dollars to help certain selected insiders benefit. And I just want to read you an email.
Okay.
I'm sorry, this is a comment that was posted to the Pensacola News Journal about a recent Team Santa Rosa story that we won't get into, but this comment was posted from J. Miller O'Studer. And they write, wow, Santa Rosa is starting to make Escambia look good as far as the good old boy network is concerned. My kids had to leave the area to find decent paying jobs, and these bozos pay themselves and their friends hefty salaries in a couple of the poorest counties in Florida, perhaps in the U.S. Plus, when they screw up, they are welcomed with open arms. Where do I sign up for the government gravy train? And I just wanted to ask you, as a former board member, how do you think the community perceives TEAM, and would you comment on that?
Well, you know, I think there may be more than one perception out there. I think those that have knowledge, firsthand knowledge of what team does, what team is attempted to do, I think the impression is good. For those that may not have that intimate knowledge, and I think team can do a better job in explaining to the public what they do and how decisions get made, and I think that's appropriate. But I think that different perceptions arise based on the level of knowledge, and I think getting knowledge out and getting truth out is probably the best way to address it.
One of the things that comment did reference were team salaries.
Mm-hmm.
And team salaries are set at $90,000, $70,000, $50,000, $40,000 in an area where, according to my research, the median salary is about $24,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to ask you again, as a former board member, because you participated, I'm sure, in salary discussions.
We did.
Do you feel like team salaries reflect their productivity levels in the last couple of years as far as bringing employment to the county?
Well, let me preface this by saying if you had any idea what my salary was as president of the hospital, you'd probably say, well, how does that fit with the overall economy and what the average wage is in the economy? But when those positions were set and those salary levels were developed, the board at team did research on other economic development organizations throughout the state of Florida as to what of comparable size to what we are, looking at, all right, what are you having to pay to attract qualified people to get the job done? Because quite frankly, we're in competition with them to get the right people as well. And that's where those levels came from. Now, they are higher than what you see as the average wage here in the county, but I guarantee you in every county in the state of Florida, you're going to find just about the same situation.
The other thing that teams received a lot of criticism for has been sunshine law, related public records, open meetings, especially from me. The president, Ed Gray, has in the past indicated that he doesn't think that team either should fall under or does fall under sunshine law. And I just wanted to ask you, as a former board member and also in your capacity as military affairs liaison, do you think that team should fall under sunshine law?
Well, let me see if I can answer it this way. There are a lot of potential candidates that are spoken to that have businesses to bring, not only here but other places. A lot of them, for various reasons, do not want their name known that they are looking at a particular site. They like to keep that confidential until a final decision is made. All the economic development councils in the state of Florida realize that, and they have honored that and have requested opinions in the past, and we've requested opinions through our own county attorney. Do we fall under the sunshine where potentially that kind of information could be made public? The information we had received up until just recently, and that was after a contact was made with the governor's office, is that we didn't.
Well, now the county attorney said that you did.
Well, the county attorney says that we need to comply with the opinion now. Yes.
Well, I have an email where he told Miss Anderson several years ago, team does fall under sunshine law statutes. He did tell.
I never saw
that's
that.
Fine. That's
okay.
That's okay.
I never saw that.
I just was at, as far as outside of business contacts, business potential prospects, that kind of thing. The nuts and bolts, salaries, spending, administrative spending, that kind of stuff. Do you think that stuff should fall under sunshine law?
I don't think that there's any problem with that being out.
Okay. That's the only thing that does fall under sunshine law. There are exemptions for the business prospects.
I think the big concern is that there not be a release of potential businesses that are looking to move to this area.
Right.
And, you know, that's for our benefit too.